Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to be going over the final lab assignment in this class, NAT and DHCP. This is actually a pretty simple lab, largely because a lot of the commands you need are already provided in this document, which you probably note is a pretty big change from all the other labs. So the only command I'm giving you is here, just configuring the router as a DHCP client. This is the only command I really need to provide for you here. So you'll basically be setting up a cloud. This cloud actually lets you connect to the internet with your GNS configuration. So I'll quickly go over that. Scott Cunningham actually has a video on this already, but I'll give you a quick demonstration how to do it. So first you click End Devices. You select this little cloud here, drag it in there. Um, so after that, I'm just going to rename it Internet for this demonstration. So next up, you need to double click that cloud. So you actually need to, you can't use this interface on the Linux virtual machine. You need to actually use this. It's a virtual bridge. So you click Show Special Ethernet Interfaces. You click the drop down, click Verbo0, not the NIC, but just this one. Press Add, Apply, OK. And then quickly go ahead and select from here. Use this here. And then we're going to turn on the devices. Let the router boot. So in this lab, you're going to basically be configuring a DNS, or I'm sorry, DHCP server on router 1. This will actually provide dynamically allocated addresses to these two computers. But first, we need to actually configure a DHCP address from R1. So since we're connected to the internet now, you notice if we try to ping, you can actually, our tests are going to use the Google DNS server. So you notice we can't ping right now. We need to actually configure an IP address on router 1. And the way we're going to do that, instead of statically configuring one, we're going to configure a dynamic one. So conf t, and let's see what interface I connected the router to. Oh, f1/0, take an IP addr, DHCP, no shut, end. So these commands here will basically, it'll take a minute, but R1 is actually getting an IP address directly from the internet. It's actually pretty cool. It's really convenient. It's probably getting it from somewhere in NKU, like either the device this virtual machine is running on, or some kind of virtual device in the network. So you see here, we actually got an IP address. So show IP int brief. Oops, int brief. And you can see fast Ethernet 1/0. We got this IP address, and you can even see DHCP is right here. So that's all there is to connecting your network, your GNS network, to the internet. Now, the rest of the lab involves these things. So first of all, you're going to be setting up a DHCP server on the router. I'm not going to demonstrate that due to time. All the commands are here. Just a few questions for you to answer. Just use your textbook or the PowerPoint slides. These are pretty easy to answer. Now you need to configure NAT. So first of all, the reason we're doing this is because when we're trying, as the document explains here, the Verbo or virtual bridge doesn't know where to find the subnet that you're configuring from your DHCP server on your router. So that's why we need to use that. So basically, we're translating the devices from this subnet to the subnet that the router was dynamically given with the DHCP command we just typed in. So you configure these, you type in these commands on your router or in your router. Make sure, by the way, to include the interfaces that the router shows here. Unfortunately, I didn't do that in my demonstration. Next, you need to provide an ACL, just a standard one. You won't apply it to. You will not be applying this ACL to an interface. You'll actually be applying it to a NAT command. I'm going to leave you all to figure this out. It's not hard. Standard ACL should be very simple. All you need to do is one permit statement. That's it. It's a standard ACL. And then this Y, you need to select the router interface that has the IP address used as your inside global address. Now, I will discuss this a little bit. So NAT has a few terms that you need to understand. Inside local address is the actual IP address assigned to a host in the private enterprise network, while the inside global address is a NAT router, changes the source IP from inside local to inside global. So basically, it's translating the IP addresses. And if we scoot over here, this other little network, I didn't configure anything on it, but basically this is what it's doing. So you have these IP address, these computers here in your private network. They're in the subnet of 10.0.0.0. Whatever. With NAT, this router, when this PC wants to communicate with this PC using NAT, this router will actually translate these addresses to one address from this network. Let me see if I can fix that. So say it was like that. So basically anything, if there are more PCs in here, these addresses will be translated to this. This is the inside local. This is the inside global. I won't correlate it to the other network, but you should be able to figure out from what I've described. So after you do that, basically that's about it. You'll be doing a few more tests and stuff and getting your IP addresses on your computer and the little virtual machine computers. That's about it. This lab is pretty simple, but if you need help, feel free to contact me. I'll be available to help you. Thank you very much for all the hard work you put in this semester. I hope you found these videos helpful. Thank you and good luck on the final.